Alright, it is time for UFC 317. Let me get ready here. Alright, UFC 317. Charles Oliveira versus Ilya Topuria. This is a really good card in my opinion. I'm really excited for it. Yeah, man. I got my predictions ready for this event too. But we ain't always no time. Starting right away with Chris Ewart versus Jason McVeigh. Now I'll admit I'm upset. I was very excited to watch Cedricus Dumas get knocked out again, but you know, it is what it is, right? Hold on, let me. You know, McVeigh, man, he's a 6'4" lightweight dude. He's huge. I'm gonna go with Jackson McVeigh over Chris Ewart here. I was also gonna take Jackson McVeigh over Cedricus Dumas, but Chris Ewart, I'm not gonna lie, I would probably take Cedricus Dumas over Chris Ewart. He doesn't impress me at all. He's slow to me. Like, his movement is slow. All his finishes are in round one though, but I mean, who's he fighting, right? I'm gonna go with Jackson McVeigh. He's a 6'4" lightweight. He's huge. He's really good in the. He is undefeated with every single win being a round one finish. But he loves the knees in the clinch. He loves clinching, knees in the clinch. He has a KO with clinch knees as well, I believe. I forgot the name of the dude, but yeah, Jackson McVeigh's a nasty finisher. He's undefeated. He's got good jiu-jitsu as well. Weird technique on the feet. One thing about Jackson McVeigh, I've never seen him land a punch that looks like it should hurt anybody, but every shot he throws hurts people. Oh, my fucking camera. So that's a bit odd to me, in my opinion. Check out the Nate Diaz shirt. But yeah, I don't know. Jackson McVeigh doesn't really look like he should be getting all these finishes, but he is. But Chris Ewart doesn't look impressive at all. He's slow. He likes leg kicks, so he could probably, if he throws enough leg kicks, he could probably slow down the movement of Jackson. But it's a 3-round fight. I don't know if I see this going to a decision. I see Jackson McVeigh getting him out there in the first round, honestly. So, yeah. Jackson McVeigh, round one. I'll go KO. Moving on. Jonathan Deniz versus Alvin Hines. I am not impressed at all by Alvin Hines. I gotta be honest with you. I'm gonna go with Jonathan Deniz. Jonathan Deniz, at the very least, has. I'm getting shit prepared. Jonathan Deniz is actually. I mean, I don't know if I rate him that well either, but he's at least got some decent striking for heavyweight. He's fairly fast. But one thing about Deniz is he is like some of the worst grappling I may have ever seen. He can be taken down and controlled by just about anybody that tries. He doesn't attempt at all to get up when on bottom. You know? But I mean, at least on the feet, I think he's above average as a striker, at least for the heavyweight division. Alvin Hines is just a big ball of muscle that's strong, but he's very slow, doesn't show any fight IQ. Yeah, I don't really trust him to be the one to get Jonathan Deniz out of here, so I'm going to go with Jonathan Deniz by round 2 knockout. I mean, Alvin Hines, there's really not much there to say. I mean, he just kind of walks forward, strong as fucking, just throws and beats people outside of the UFC. I mean, outside of UFC competition, there's really no telling how bad these people can get. So, yeah. Just make sure I'm recording. I am recording. All right, good. All right. Yeah. Jonathan Deniz round 2 TKO. Because I don't really know if I see Alvin Hines attempting much grappling here. If he attempts grappling, he could probably make it a bit closer, but Moving on to Nico Price versus Jacob Smith. This, I gotta. All right. Hold on a second. All right. Should have been a bit more prepared, but it is what it is. I'm not restarting this fucking video. I'm gonna go with obviously Jacob Smith here. Obviously Jacob Smith. I mean, Nico Price is very hurtable. There's just not many good things to say about him at this stage in his career. He will stand and bang. He will never back down for a stand and bang, which is cool, you know. But I mean, especially in this matchup, that's not going to be good for him. Because he's not powerful. He's physically weak. You know, Jacob Smith is young. He's a wrestler, so he will be able to take down Nico Price at will and probably just be able to do whatever he wants with him. But I mean, even on the feet, he'll probably just beat Nico. I didn't know. I accidentally muted my mic, but he'll probably just beat up Nico Price. Probably just beat the shit out of him. I mean, Jacob Smith is very strong. He loves ground and pound, so he'll probably get Nico Price down and just... I'm going to go with Nico Price. Ground and pound finish in round 1, to be honest. I don't see Nico Price getting out of the first round. On the feet, I think Jacob Smith is kind of a lazy striker. He likes to throw a lot of 1-2s and leg kicks, not much else. But, I mean, on the ground, the dude's a monster. Very athletic, but he's not a submission guy. I don't think he has any submission wins as dominant as he is on the ground. What was his opponent? The record of like his opponents is like 32-25 or something. So definitely not too good. I do need to see Jacob. I need to see him against some better competition. Nico Price is someone that he can just get through, I think. I don't think he's got to worry about this one. But there's some guys in the division I probably wouldn't pick him against. So, but yeah. Jacob Smith, just too young, too strong for Nico Price, especially at this point in his career. I mean, just had a decision against, Alex Morono. How do you not finish Alex Morono? He's terrible. Yeah. Moving on to my boy Terrence McKinney versus Slavaklaus Vyacheslav Borshov. I will say one thing here. Before I made my underdog pick of the week, Brandon Royval, by the way, go check that out. It's in my my shorts. I was going to pick Terrence McKinney, but then I realized he's actually the favorite here. I'm a little surprised to see him as a favorite. I am going to be picking Terrence McKinney very confidently, but I didn't think that the odds makers would see it that way, and I didn't think the majority of people would see it that way, because Terrence McKinney he's usually the underdog, isn't he? Am I tripping? People don't really seem to believe in Terrence McKinney, but I do. I always have. I think that Terrence McKinney is he's incredibly talented. I think he's gonna get this one done in round 1 by submission. Vyacheslav Borshov cannot grapple well, and Terrence McKinney is a better grappler than he is a striker, as dangerous as he is on the feet. And I know that Vyacheslav Borshov is a dangerous striker, and Terrence McKinney has been chinned a few times before, but I just don't see Vyacheslav Borshov landing those kind of shots. You know, the kind of shots that KO Terrence McKinney are flying knees and head kicks. Vyacheslav Borshov is mainly a boxer, you know, dangerous left hooks. I don't think his hooks are going to do much to Terrence McKinney here, especially with the takedown threat. I think Terrence McKinney even said after his last loss against, what's the dude's name? That's El Gringo from, man, I was just playing with him on UFC 5. Man, I can't believe I can't remember his name right now. But yeah, his nickname is El Gringo. Um, but yeah, after that KO loss, he said, Esteban Ribovics is his name. Esteban Ribovics. After he got KO'd by Esteban Ribovics, Terrence McKinney said in a video, "I'm going to start wrestling more." And that's exactly what he did in his next fight when he TKO'd. The dude is dog shit, so I'm probably not going to be able to remember his name. He's the same guy that that Moicano submitted, and Moicano was mad, and he was like, "Oh, I wanted to fight," and the dude was like, "Then you shouldn't have submitted me." You know, very embarrassing conversation to have after you lose in the first round. The dude, Damir is his name, I think, or something. He's awful. I knew Terrence McKinney would get him out of there in the first round, and he did, with no adversity at all. Vyacheslav Borshev's a bit better, though. Vyacheslav's actually a bit dangerous. He has power in the hands. He's an incredible striker. I was actually alone, and I actually made money on Mark Jacasey as an underdog against Borshev because I knew that Borshev couldn't grapple, and I actually predicted that. I just said his name. I literally just said his name. This happens every time I make a video. I just forget names. Mark Jacasey. I predicted that Mark Jacasey would actually grapple in this fight because Borshev is dangerous on the feet, and he did grapple, and he won the fight. Terrence McKinney is much better on the ground than Mark Jacasey and way more of a finishing threat. I think he's a threat on the feet and on the ground, whereas I only think Vyacheslav is a threat on the feet. Terrence McKinney's faster. I do think Terrence McKinney's got more power in his hands than Borshev. Borshev may be a bit more technical, but Terrence McKinney's wild. He loves to get in that fire and throw and trade, and his speed and his power advantage, I think, even on the feet, would be an advantage for him over Borshev. And I do think he's going to grapple, so I think he's going to actually submit Vyacheslav Borshev in round 1 without taking too much damage. Oh, man. Yeah. Terrence McKinney's one of my favorites, so I would love to see him get this win. It pays me every time he loses because he's my boy, man. Terrence McKinney's my boy. So yes, Terrence McKinney, round 1 submission. I'm gonna predict actually not too much going on the feet. It'll be a tit for tat maybe for 30 seconds and then a takedown, and then he'll control him for the rest of the fight and get a submission. Moving on to Viviana Araujo versus Tracy Cortez. Man, I'm gonna go with Tracy Cortez just because. I don't know. I know Viviana's she's got like 80-something% takedown defense, so her defensive grappling isn't too bad, but I do trust Tracy Cortez, especially after losing to Rose. I think Tracy Cortez is the kind of fighter that when she loses to a very high profile person like Rose Namajunas, she, will take that and learn from it. Did she take down Rose Namajunas? I'm not sure. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but I'm going to assume she had at least had one successful takedown on Rose Namajunas. And if that is the truth, I don't see why she can't take down Viviana Araujo. Viviani's decent, but, she's just not really much of a threat. She's not that dangerous. She's not really going to... She's not going to knock you out. She's not going to submit you. I'm going to go with Tracy Cortez by a wrestling decision, being a bit more well-rounded out there. I like Tracy Cortez. I like Araujo. I ain't got nothing against her, but Tracy Cortez should get this one done by grappling. Moving on to Hyder Emil versus Jose Miguel Delgado. I'm going to go with Hyder Emil here. Hyder Emil is a very dangerous striker. Good grappler, too. Undefeated. 11-0. It's not easy to do. He's a nasty finisher with some good killer instincts. One thing about Hyder, man, if he sees you hurt, man, he'll stop at nothing to get that finish. So he's got insane pace and pressure, too. I don't know if you guys seen his fight with Gomez. Oh, dude, he never stopped going forward. Always giving Gomez something to think about, something to have to counter. And it's what is why he was able to be ahead on the scorecards. There was never a breather for Gomez in that fight. Never a second. And he's just a Terminator, man. You can't stop him from going forward. And his KO over that Korean guy, what's his name? I'm not even going to attempt his name because it's going to sound crazy if it's wrong at all. But, I mean, Delgado's got a 100% finish rate. Obviously, he's dangerous. He's a diverse finisher. Got 5 KOs, 4 submissions. He prefers to go forward as well. Got some high pace and pressure. So this is going to be one of those in the middle of the octagon, neither backing up, just throwing kind of fights, I believe. One thing about that I think is underrated in this fight for Delgado is his one loss. I forgot who it's to, but I think it was to a pretty decent guy, and Hyder Emilio's never lost, so which looks good on paper, but sometimes the guys that lost only one time, example, Kamaru Usman, someone that only lost one time, has one loss in a record, has learned the lessons of a loss and used that to get better. Hyder Emilio doesn't know what it feels like to lose, so there may be some lessons he needs to learn, and if Delgado's the one to teach him that, then so be it, but I don't think so. I just think Hyder Emilio's better. I think the fight's gonna start. They're gonna enter the center and just start banging it out in the middle. And I think Hyder Emilio is gonna hurt Delgado badly, which is gonna finally force him to back up against the cage, where Hyder Emilio will finish him off with a KO up against the cage for Hyder Emilio. Round 1 KO for Hyder Emilio. Round 1. First 2 minutes, I'm going to say. Moving on to Jack Hermansson versus Gregory Rodriguez. I took Gregory Rodriguez. No, I didn't. I don't know why I said that. I did not take him. I'm taking Jack Hermansson. And I'll say the biggest reason I'm taking Jack Hermansson is the gas tank of Gregory Rodriguez. It's terrible. RoboCop is massive for the division, very muscular. He's strong and powerful, high finishing ability, so he can get Jack Hermansson out of there early. Good grappling. But I do honestly, I rewatched the Jack Hermansson versus Joe Pyfer fight. I think Joe Pyfer is a bit of a better striker than Gregory Rodriguez. And just seeing how little success he had and how he couldn't KO Hermansson really doesn't look good for Gregory Rodriguez here. Because Hermansson's well-rounded. He's experienced as hell. And one thing about him is that he builds into the fight. Round 1 and 2 is always his worst rounds. But as the rounds go on, Jack Hermansson builds into it. He gets better. He starts throwing at a higher pace in them later rounds. It's the exact opposite for Gregory Rodriguez. Gregory Rodriguez has 1 or 2 rounds of gas, maybe. But in the 3rd round, he's always cooked. He's always slower. Not much more pop in his shots. And one thing about Gregory Rodriguez, I hope my mic wasn't too loud. One thing about Gregory Rodriguez is, man, if you survive the first 2 rounds, man, he's very beatable. And he's KO'able, man. We've seen Gregory Rodriguez put out more than once, I believe. Yeah, a few times, actually. Not that Jack Hermansson is that powerful a hitter. I don't really believe in the power of Jack Hermansson. But if this gets in around... Damn, you know what? You know what's crazy? I just realized I'm dissecting this fight as if it was a 5-round fight. It's not. It's 3 rounds. So Gregory Rodriguez could definitely take the first 2 rounds. I'll say, if this was a 5-rounder, 100% I'm going with Jack Hermansson. But now that I just realized it's a 3-round fight, that really helps Gregory Rodriguez here. Man. Do I switch my pick mid-video? Why the hell have I been dissecting this fight and thinking about it and predicting it as if it's a 5-round fight? Because I'm thinking too much about Jack Hermanson versus Joe Pyfer, which was a 5-round fight. I'm switching my pick. I'm going with Gregory Rodriguez. Because even when I was dissecting this as if it was a 5-round fight, I kind of thought Gregory Rodriguez would win the first 2 rounds. And it would be the last 3 rounds that Jack Hermanson would take over. But now that I am literally just realizing for some odd reason that this is a 3-round fight, I do still think that Gregory Rodriguez is going to win the first 2 rounds. And if anyone's going to get a finish here, it's going to be Gregory Rodriguez. So I'm going to go with Gregory Rodriguez, actually. Yeah. Damn, I just switched my pick mid-video. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Because he's a lot more powerful than Jack Hermanson. So if they're both landing, it's going to be Gregory getting the bigger reactions. And I think the judges are going to like what they're seeing from the punches of Gregory Rodriguez a bit more. So, yeah. I'm going to go with Gregory Rodriguez by decision. 29-28, winning the first 2 rounds and losing the 3rd one. That's what I'm going to go with. Yep. Moving on to Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima. All right. Oh, man, this one took me a lot of thinking time, if I'm going to be honest with you guys. I fucked up my camera. There we go. I'm going to go with Peyton Talbot here. I really rate Felipe Lima, and I think he's really good, but I'm going to be honest, I still believe a lot in Peyton Talbot. He's a really good striker. Fast, powerful, young as hell, athletic, strong, physically strong. But Peyton Talbot does have a bit of a grappling weakness, which is where I think Felipe Lima can win. If he's going to win, I think it's going to be because of the grappling. I got to see the grappling here. Because Lima's, dude, he's unbelievably fast. The speed in which he throws, especially against Naimov, was crazy. He loves to kick. And he's got good submissions, too. And he's really strong himself. But, man, I got to see the... God, man. Peyton Talbot looked like a really bad grappler in his last fight. But I'm going to trust that Felipe Lima isn't going to be that good. Or that Peyton Talbot has improved and made some adjustments. I'm going to bet on the fact that Peyton Talbot has made really good adjustments, especially in his grappling defense. And I do think that the longer this fight is on the feet, I think Peyton Talbot's a slightly better striker than Felipe Lima. So, you know, Peyton Talbot's very powerful, man. When he hits people, they get hurt more times than not. So, yeah. Peyton Talbot is going to win this fight. I am very confident. That no matter who wins this is going to be a decision. Felipe Lima has never been finished before. Peyton Talbot's never been finished before. They both only got 1 loss. I don't know who beat Lima, to be fair. I hope it wasn't a finish, or else I'd look stupid for just saying that. But, who was his 1 loss? I looked at it. I just forgot. Because it was a few days ago that I did my research on this fight. But, yeah. I'm going to go with Peyton Talbot, 29-28 against Felipe Lima. I just think that his shots on the feet are going to be a bit more powerful and get a bit more of a reaction out of Lima than vice versa. So, and I do trust in the grappling preparation this time around for Peyton Talbot. So, Peyton Talbot, 29-28, UD, unanimous decision. Moving on to Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. I will say, I was one of those guys that truly believed in Beneil Dariush. I picked Beneil Dariush to beat Arman Tsarukyan. My bad. I picked Beneil Dariush to beat Gamrot, which was actually a really good win for me. I picked Oliveira to beat Dariush, so that was a good pick. Man. I don't know, dude. This fight in the main event... Alright, I'm going to say this. There's only 2 fights on this card that I hadn't had a definitive pick for until the video. This is one of them, and so is the main event. I still don't know who I'm picking, so let's go through it. Beneil Dariush, man, I don't know if Moicano is going to be able to take down Beneil Dariush. Beneil Dariush is like one of the best scramblers in the entire division. He's a better scrambler than Renato Moicano is. He just is. If Moicano goes for some takedowns, I will say, I'm not too... Man. I think that Moicano has some of the best top control. If he gets Beneil Dariush on the ground and he gets on top of Beneil, he could probably be able to control him, but that is a massive if he can get Beneil down. I mean, if he's going to shoot for legs, Beneil's going to sprawl, he's going to, he's going to defend, scramble, roll. Man. And I just... Whoever here is a better striker. It's not by much, and Beneil Dariush has a lot more power in his hands than Moicano does. But man, can I trust the chin of Beneil Dariush after his last 2 fights? But can I trust the power of Moicano? I've never looked at Moicano like, oh, can't get hit by this guy. Moicano can't get hit by him. I've never said that. Because Moicano doesn't hit hard. He doesn't really... you know what I'm saying? He's not someone you got to fear the power of. But Beneil Dariush might just have to fear the power of anybody with that chin he's been showing recently. Because if I'm being honest with you guys, I don't view Arman Tsarukyan as a powerful guy at all, actually. I don't look at Arman and go, oh, can't afford to get hit by him. Never have I said that. So I think that's a weird KO loss for Beneil, and one that looks awful for him. Because if Arman can KO you immediately like that, why can't Moicano hurt you at any point in this fight, right? But Beneil, man, he hits so hard. That shot he dropped Gamrot with fucking drops anybody. The spinning back fist KO is still beautiful. The KO over Jakar Close. I mean, not everybody's KOing Jakar Close. So, man... I'm going to go with Renato Moicano. I heavily debated going with Beneil Dariush, but I'm going to trust in Renato Moicano. What are their ages, man? Their ages aren't even on here. It's alright. And I'm not going to open up a new tab to look at it. I think... Moicano is older? I think. I'm not sure. Beneil might be older. These are 2 old fart bags anyway. I'm going to trust that Moicano can get Beneil Dariush down at least 2 times. At least 2 total times in the entire fight. I just realized my microphone was down. Hopefully you could hear me that entire time. I'm going to at least trust that Moicano can get this fight to the ground 2 times within 15 minutes. And if he does, I trust he'll be able to at least hold him down enough to get some damage off to steal those rounds. I'm going to go with Moicano by decision, with every round being incredibly close. I could see this being a split decision, where half the fan base is divided and half of the fan base is divided 50-50. But I'm going to say that Moicano slightly edges it with being better at controlling on top. That's what I'm going to go with. But, man, do not be surprised if Beneil Dariush gets this done. I want that to be known right here. Please do not be surprised if Dariush gets this done either by KO or decision. I believe in the power of Dariush, but Moicano just seems to be in a bit of a better mental state. Moicano seems to want it more. Moicano's got this whole, Moicano wants money. Moicano wants money. I can't afford to lose, motherfucker. I can't afford to lose. Benil Dariush he's not saying none of that. He's got no catchphrases. Moicano just seems like he wants it more, And he's fought Makhachev, which is something Dariush can't say. And even though he got destroyed by Makhachev and submitted in round 1, having to feel the strength in the grappling of Makhachev will probably... Dariush isn't that strong, and Dariush isn't that good of a grappler. So Moicano's not going to get grappled here by Dariush and feel like he hasn't felt this kind of strength before. So I'm going to go with Renato Moicano, 29-28 split decision. Mostly based on his ability to take down Dariush one time, at least in 2 different rounds, and get some control time and damage. Moving on to my boys. Brandon Royval versus Joshua Van. This is one of those fights for me where I don't give a fuck what happens as long as my boys have fun in there. I've always been a massive believer in Brandon Royval. He's my underdog pick of the week because I'm pretty confident in him in this matchup, especially considering the short notice nature of Joshua Van. Stepping in very short notice, and the fact that Joshua Van lost and got KO'd by Charles Johnson, who is a taller guy, and I think the height and the reach is really what gave Joshua Van his problems. Brandon Royval is also really tall for the division at 5'9", right? I believe Charles Johnson's also 5'9" or 5'10", maybe 5'10", an inch taller than Royval. But the difference is, Brandon Royval, I don't think there is a single thing that Charles Johnson does better than Brandon Royval. Brandon has more power in his hands. Brandon is a better boxer, striker. He's a better grappler. He's got better jiu-jitsu. He's got a better chin. He's better at everything than Charles Johnson. And Joshua Van, I think, will succumb to the length of Brandon Royval. One thing about Brandon Royval, man, is he loves throwing these knees when the distance gets closed. That's how he KO'd, what's that dude's name? The dude with a terrible chin. Got KO'd by Alex Perez as well. He retired. Mateus Nicolau. Yeah, it's how he KO'd Mateus Nicolau with a knee up the middle as the distance closed. I see something similar here for Joshua Van. Joshua Van is an amazing anti-grappler, so you put Joshua Van up against most grapplers in this division, and I think he beats the shit out of him. But Brandon Royval is very well-rounded and is mainly a boxer. Funny enough, though, I think Joshua Van has a better chance of beating Pantoja than Brandon Royval does. But styles make fights. I'm taking Brandon Royval here. He's had a full training camp. Who was he fighting? Manel Cap. I think both these guys beat Manel Cap. I think Brandon Royval was going to beat Manel Cap. I think Joshua Van would beat Manel Cap, even though I do think Manel Cap is good. And I do see him being a top 5 mainstay at some point. But yeah, I'm going to go with Brandon Royval here by KO in round 3, similar to his KO loss against Charles Johnson. Brandon Royval is going to show... I think Joshua Van's going to have a really good first round. He's going to close the distance well, land them beautiful body shots, head shots. Brandon Royval is going to take the first round off to understand Joshua Van. And round two, he will start to pick it up against Joshua Van and start to really show that length. He's going to sting Joshua Van a few times. Joshua Van was getting hurt against... who did he fight at UFC 306? The dude that just beat CJ Vergara. Man, I can't believe I'm forgetting these people's names. I'm not going to think too hard for this one. The dude was hurting Joshua Van a lot as well, who I think is just doesn't hold a candle up to Brandon Royval. So pretty confident here in Brandon Royval. 68-inch reach to 65-inch reach. Brandon's jab is going to be there all night, dude. He's going to jab him up. He's going to land those knees. I think Joshua Van in the third round is going to continue his, body shot, and just get hit with a knee right up the middle. Puts him down, and Brandon Royval is going to get on top and start landing some ground and pound and get the finish. I could see this going to a decision, but seeing Joshua Van lose to Charles Johnson, I'm not going to lie, guys, has really persuaded this fight for me for Brandon Royval. That one fight specifically, Joshua Van has kind of looked damn near perfect and amazing in like every other fight. Man, he's looked so good, man. Just dominated Bruno Silva. Dropped him like, 4 times. Dominated that Japanese guy. Arinya or something. Dominated Cody Durden. Man. But Cody Durden's not that good. I'm going to go, Brandon Royval, round 3, knockout with a knee up the middle. I'm tired. Yes. But this is going to be a beautiful fight. I would love to see Joshua Van or Brandon Royval win. Regardless of how this fight goes, I will be happy for the winner and sad for the loser. I just hope it's a good fight. I just hope that none of them look terrible. That's all I hope for, is that none of them look terrible. But official prediction, Brandon Royval, round 3 TKO. Co-main event between Alejandro Pantoja versus Kai Kara-France. I'm going to go with Alejandro Pantoja. I believe they spelled his name wrong. I think Alejandro's name is Alejandre. I'm going to fact check that. No, I'm not, because my phone's all the way over my bed. Why do I have a feeling that his name is spelled with a J instead of an X right there? If I'm retarded, I apologize. But Alejandro Pantoja will beat Kai Kara-France. I don't think that Kai Kara-France is that good. He's obviously decent. But he's just got a lot of losses. 11 losses. And he got KO'd by Brandon Moreno. You can say that he beat Amir Albazi all you want. It just doesn't change the fact that he didn't look good in that fight regardless. Neither of them did. And I don't think that Alejandro Pantoja would have any bit of a close fight against Amir Albazi. So, Kai Kara-France, I do also think he beat Amir Albazi, but he still looked bad and nothing impressive to me. Nothing Kai Kara-France has ever done other than the Askar Askarov fight makes me believe he has a chance against Pantoja. But I do have something I want to say about Kai's win over Askar Askarov. I get it. It was a really good performance. Showed incredible takedown defense and all that. But Kai Kara-France, I think it's worth mentioning that Askar Askarov left the UFC after that fight because of health issues. You can say what you want about the performance of Kai, but I think it's worth mentioning that Askar Askarov was not 100% in that fight, and he literally asked for his release after it because he knows he can't compete at the top level with his medical issues. Had Askar Askarov been 100% like Kai was, could be looking at a different result. But I'm going to go with Alejandro Pantoja by round 3 submission. I do trust Alejandro Pantoja to get anybody in the division down on the ground. I don't think anybody can stay up. I will say, though, I do think that Steve Erceg beat Pantoja. Even on all my rewatches, I scored the fight for Steve Erceg. I just think he beat Pantoja. And obviously, we saw what Kai did to Steve Erceg. It was very impressive. I actually thought Steve Erceg was going to beat Kai. So, here I am picking against him again. But, yeah. Alejandro Pantoja, I think, would beat Steve Erceg more convincingly in a rematch. But, and Kai is like, he strikes, but I will say though, his striking is always better against other strikers. When you put Kai Kara-France up against a grappler, yeah, he can defend the takedowns well, but his striking seems to decline in other fights against grapplers. So you put Kai in a fight against a striker, that's when his best striking comes out. Unless you're Brennan Moreno, because Brennan Moreno is just that fucking dude. So official prediction: Alejandro Pantoja round 3 submission. After really struggling to grapple Kai in the first round, I think round 2 he'll get the blueprint down, and then round 3 he'll get the finish. Yeah, Pantoja. Main event time. I am undecided. I don't know who I'm picking right now. Oh, that was an accident. All right. I don't know what that looked like on your end. I guess I'll see it when I upload it, cause I don't edit videos, cause I don't. You know, I just want to record the videos, upload them, and continue on about my day. But, man, I'm going to go with, because here's the thing, right? I am not impressed by Ilia Topuria's lightweight debut against Jai Herbert. Dropped in the first round, panic wrestled the rest of the first round. And then, to be fair to him, he does put Jai Herbert out nasty cold in round 2. But I'm gonna tell you a secret. It was Jai Herbert. Jai Herbert also got put out by Trinaldo. So, you know, I do think that if Charles Oliveira gets Ilia hurt, he will fit. Here's the issue I have. If Ilia Topuria gets Charles Oliveira hurt, Charles Oliveira can survive and probably will survive the first time he gets hurt by Ilia. If Ilia gets hurt by Charles Oliveira, I see Charles Oliveira finishing him off of the first time he gets Ilia hurt. Just because Ilia hasn't really been there before, and he's up a weight class against people that hit harder and are better finishers than the boys down at 145. And Charles Oliveira is the most diverse, prolific finisher in the entire history of the company, of the sport. And I do think Charles Oliveira should offensively grapple. He should go for takedowns. But man, can Oliveira take the shots of Topuria, man? I mean, he's incredibly powerful. Top tier elite boxing. Top 3 boxing easily. I want to say, I mean, God, is he the best? He could be. I don't like to ever put anybody in definitively the best boxer in the entire sport just because, you know. I think this fight's going to really depend on the counter shots of Ilia Topuria, because I see Charles Oliveira being a bit more successful going forward. So I'd see Ilia Topuria backing up more than I see Oliveira backing up. And I think if Ilia can land some like good counter shots, he'll probably put Charles Oliveira out cold. Oliveira might die badly. Like that's something we have to admit and accept as a possibility. But man, I picked against Ilia Topuria a lot. I picked Max Holloway to beat him. I picked Volkanovski to beat him. I picked those are the only times those are the only times I ever picked against Ilia, because I picked him against Bryce Mitchell. I picked him against Jai Herbert. I picked him against Ryan Hall. I picked him against Josh Emmett. So only 2 times I picked against him, actually. And I've actually never picked guess wrong. I've only picked against Charles Oliveira 1 time. I picked Charles Oliveira in the first fight when Charles became champion. But I picked Oliveira against Islam, Arman, Chandler 2, Ferguson, Gaethje, Poirier. This is a hard one for me, man. I'm going to say this. No matter who I pick here, I am not confident. I just ain't. I'm going to have to pick someone here just for the sake of a pick because I'm very divided, and I believe that they both can get it done. Whoever gets it done, though, I think it will be in round 2. I know a lot of people are probably going to pick a round 1 finish here, but one thing is, if Charles Oliveira gets dropped or if he drops Topuria, they're going to grapple. Like, I hope you guys know this. They are going to grapple. Charles Oliveira never gets put out cold. He gets dropped a lot, but one thing about Charles is when he feels power, he'll voluntarily get dropped. Like, he gets hit with a nice shot and he'll drop to his back in hopes that his opponent will jump into his guard. I for sure will see him doing this against Topuria. And Topuria will probably indulge and probably get on top, and Oliveira maybe would have some success, because I do think the Oliveira will be better on the ground, whether he's on top or bottom. So, yeah. But I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I would rather pick Ilia Topuria and be wrong than pick Charles Oliveira and be wrong. So, for the sake of a pick and because I'm going to go with Ilia Topuria. I'm going to go with Ilia Topuria official pick, because when I think of how Ilia Topuria can win, I can just say, oh, he's a better boxer. He'll piece Oliveira up, put him down, ground and pound, TKO him out. Or you know what I'm saying? But if I'm trying to justify a Charles Oliveira win, it always seems like I'm reaching in the bag more. Like, if you were to ask me, how can Ilia win? I'll say, oh, he can just he can box him up. He's powerful. Put him down, finish him. But if you ask me, how can Charles Oliveira win? I'm reaching in the bag and going, he'll probably get dropped, but he may survive it. If he gets Ilia hurt, he could finish him. But that, I feel like I have to justify a Charles Oliveira win more as if I don't really believe in it, if that makes any sense. I don't know if I'm explaining this well, but I feel like if I'm justifying how Charles wins, it just feels like I'm trying harder to explain it than if I'm explaining a win for Ilia Topuria. So, official prediction, Ilia Topuria by TKO in round 2. That's what I think is going to happen. I think he's going to drop Charles Oliveira in the first round, as everybody does. He'll get on top, probably land a good few shots. Charles will probably get him in like a triangle or a leg lock and end up winning the grappling for the last few minutes of the round. And then round 2 will start. Oliveira will attempt that fucking stupid jumping crane kick that has never worked in his life. And Ilia Topuria is going to slip and counter him as he's coming down off of that stupid-ass crane kick. Drop Oliveira again, but this time Oliveira does not survive. So I'm going to go Ilia Topuria round 2 TKO. But man, I would love to be wrong. I am rooting for Charles Oliveira, and I do hope he pulls this through, but I don't know if I believe in Ilia Topuria at lightweight necessarily. I think there's a lot of hard matchups for him at 155. I think Islam beats both of these guys. If Islam comes back down, whether he wins or loses against Shadiam, I think he's going to beat either of these guys. So these guys are just holding the belt, keeping it warm for Islam, I think. But yeah, for the sake of a pick, I'm going to go with Ilia Topuria by round 2 TKO. I'm excited for this card, though, guys. This card is amazing. I heard some people have some criticisms. And to be fair, every card is fair to criticize. But I like this one. I think there's a lot of good fights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's like 7 amazing fights, and the rest are okay. But yeah, those are my predictions for UFC 317. I'm very excited for this card. We'll be rooting for Charles. The 2 people I'm rooting for the most on the entire card is Charles Oliveira and Terrence McKinney. Those are my guys. So hopefully they get it done. So let's just go through it again. My picks. Jackson McVeigh, TKO round 1. Jonathan Deniz, TKO round 2. Jacoby Smith, ground and pound TKO round 1. Terrence McKinney, submission round 1. Tracy Cortez, unanimous decision. Hader Emil, round 1, KO. Gregory Rodriguez, split decision. Peyton Talbot, unanimous decision. Renato Moicano, split decision. Brandon Royval, TKO round 3. Alejandro Pantoja, submission round 3. Ili Topuria, TKO round 2. Those are the picks. Thank you guys for watching this. I appreciate every last one of you. I'll be back with the card results. We'll talk about what I did right, what I did wrong, and the future of the fighters on the card. So, it's, man, it's hot. It's getting hot outside, man. I can't stand this heat. I'm going to go take a cold shower. See y'all after the fights.